With the war for independence over and the United States now a new nation, the Presbyterian Church began finding its place in the fledgling country.
The 19th century was a time of numerous religious revivals. Two major ones, the Second and Third Great Awakenings, happened in the 19th century. And one of the effects, of course, was the increase of religious practice among American people, including among Presbyterians. But another thing that happened was Presbyterians have always been strongly doctrinally oriented to what we believe rather than what we feel. These revival movements were more focused on how people feel. And so there was conflict in the Presbyterian Church over this notion of personal religious experience as opposed to adherence to good teaching. And those who emphasized experience and those who emphasized teaching conflicted with each other, which resulted, what a surprise, in a split between what was called the New School and Old School Presbyterians. That was compounded then later in the 19th century by the Civil War. As we moved towards the splitting of the nation, Old School Presbyterians split and New School Presbyterians split as the nation split. So you had essentially four major Presbyterian denominations. The old and new schools managed to reunite along northern and southern lines after the Civil War was over. But the northern and southern churches didn't reunite until 1983.
Our country grew quickly in the 1800s. People began moving west in search of land and economic prosperity. Industry grew in the northern states, and a more agrarian economy thrived in the South. However, despite the growth, political and social issues over slavery plunged the country into a civil war in 1860.
Slavery and then later on racial integration were really difficult topics for Presbyterians into the 19th century and into the 20th century. In fact, the Southern New School and Old School Presbyterians split well before the Civil War over the question of slavery. The Old School insisting that it was biblical to own slaves, the New School insisting that it was wrong to own slaves. And then during the Civil War, of course, Presbyterians of the South, many of them owned slaves and believed that owning slaves was perfectly biblical. Northern Presbyterians were more abolitionist oriented. Following the Civil War, with the creation of new Presbyterian denominations, but still along the lines of what had been the Confederacy, the Southern Church for a long time maintained what they called the doctrine of the spirituality of the church, which meant that the life of the church had nothing to do with public affairs. So questions over the morality of slavery, which by then of course was outlawed, but people still were concerned about whether it was moral or had been moral or not. The morality of slavery, the role of civil rights for persons in public life, that was of no concern to the church. All the church was concerned with was one's relationship to God. And that was very strong in Southern Presbyterianism, as Northern Presbyterianism moved more into Rauschenbusch's social gospel and the concern for the reformation of society as an important part of the life of Christians.
With the war over, the country began rebuilding. People were moving west once again. In 1867, Nebraska was granted statehood. Omaha, the state's largest city, suddenly was no longer just a river town. Omaha was quickly growing into a major commerce center for the region. 9 miles northwest of Omaha, Erastus Benson purchased 900 acres in 1887 near present-day 60th Street and Military Avenue. He platted the land and started a small community which he called Benson Place. It was later shortened to just Benson. It was in this small town that a new Presbyterian church would emerge.